Okay, everyone, don't worry. Feeling really safe.
Hi, my name's Cody. I'm about to turn 32 years old in this video, and I'm going to be facing one of my biggest fears at the same time. I like to think of myself as not a very fearful person, or maybe it's that I try not to make fear-based decisions. But if I'm being honest, I think we all have fears, and instead of being on a mission to avoid them, what if we are on a mission to pursue them? We all have fears in our life. Some fears are more rational than others. However, these fears, unconfronted, only hold us back from experiencing freedom. I grew up in a small town about 2 hours from Seattle. Surrounded by tractors and cows, I really had no opportunity to experience being on a large ship in the middle of the ocean. And my limited experience with ships left me with the story of the Titanic sinking as my only reference. For some reason, the idea of being on a giant sinking piece of metal in the ocean struck a deep fear in me. If I'm going to die someday, that's definitely not the way I want to go. My simple solution to avoiding this fear was that I was never going to say yes to being on a giant ship. It wasn't until a few years ago that my master plan started to be challenged. Over the past few years, I've been invited to go on different cruises with friends and family more times than ever before in my life. Don't these people know that I don't like being on ships? I kept getting invited to go on a cruise and I just kept saying no. But it got me thinking, you know, what if I did say yes instead of saying no? To most people, a cruise probably sounds exciting. But to me, this was the last thing that I wanted to do with my free time. It was usually pretty easy to have an excuse not to go until my most recent invitation. You see, a large group of family members were all deciding to go on a cruise together, and my dad invited my wife and I to come along. With a little pressure and the guilt of missing out on an opportunity to make a deeper connection with my family, Taylor and I decided to go. I immediately started to question what I agreed to. I couldn't believe I was committed to going. I started telling other friends and family members about it, hoping they would dampen my fear. Even though everyone was saying, "You'll be fine, it will be such a great experience," my fear didn't seem to go away. The time came to go on our trip. Before I knew it, we were in Galveston, Texas. All right, we've made it into Texas. We got into our hotel room, so we're staying here one night, and then tomorrow is when we embark on the cruise ship. And so far so good. As I'm thinking about the cruise ship more, I tend to get more anxious as I think about it. It's better if I actually don't think about it. So we're gonna just head to sleep, and then early tomorrow morning.
Has anybody in the party experienced any flu-like symptoms such as fever, sore throat, runny stuffy nose within 7 days? Nope.
No.
Boarding the Royal Caribbean Liberty of the Seas cruise ship. 155,000 tons of metal, spanning 1,112 feet long, able to carry up to 6,000 people on board. This ship costs $800 million. I'm not kidding when I say this is a giant piece of metal about to take me out into the ocean.
This is our room. Oh, we made it. We're on the boat. We're in our room. There's a lot of people here. We just walked around the whole ship and we went and got some food. Food was really good, but I definitely feel a little bit like cattle when they're being processed. There's just a lot of people on board. This is the end of day one. I don't know. It's also my birthday tomorrow. I'm turning 32 years old. I'm excited about this next year of my life. Planning on challenging myself to something new or furthering something in my life every month of this next year. This is really the first part of that. I guess one of my biggest fears, even though for a lot of people going on a cruise is super fun, this is a way for me to actually conquer a fear and to actually figure out how big that fear is. This is the end of day one. See you later. Okay, we made it into our hotel room, and well, everyone, don't worry. I got my life jacket on. I'm feeling really safe. And I think I'm about to take a nap here. And as long as I just keep this on, you know, I'll be floaty ready. And everyone will be, you know, seeing me. I'm going to wear this life jacket the whole entire time. And that way, if I happen to go overboard or the ship sinks, I'll be ready. No need to worry. Hey! Who is that? Hello? Everyone needs to have their life jacket on to stay super safe. Please, everyone put your life jacket on. You don't want anybody going overboard or sinking.
Every day on the ship, we had a packed schedule with countless things to do. With all the activities on the ship and the different destinations we stopped at, it really kept my mind off the fact that we were in a giant ship. But every once in a while, I'd get a glimpse of the ocean and my thoughts would start racing. You see, before I accepted going on this cruise, I asked my dad one question. Will there be any part of the trip where I won't be able to see land? For some reason, I thought that if I could see land, then that would ease my fear. Maybe I could swim to land if I could see it. He responded with a quick, "Oh yeah, we're going to be along the coast, so you'll see land the whole time." Come to find out, the second day of the trip I wake up to being in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico with no land in sight. With my thoughts racing, I knew if I kept my mind busy with other things, I wouldn't have to really face my fear. There were a lot of parts about the cruise that were really enjoyable, being with friends and family and doing different activities.
Taxi guide to take us around the island. And the first place we went to was a place that was a sanctuary for animals, and we saw a bunch of different types of birds, macaws, we saw toucans. And then the guy brought us to this beach, and now we're just hanging out and going back to the cruise ship pretty soon.
And there's really a lot of people on the ship, and actually interacting with some of the staff on the ship was one of the highlights for me. It wasn't until the last night on the ship that I realized I had been actually avoiding facing my fear this whole entire time. This was the point where I decided to face my fear head on by going down to the lowest deck that had an outside balcony closest to the surface of the water. As I walked out the sliding glass door, the rumbling of the ship's engine vibrating through the metal underneath my feet, I looked out into the deep horizon of black. I don't think it helped that I decided to do this after dark, but my heart rate started to climb as I approached the edge. The waves were crashing against the bow of the ship, and I slowly approached the railing. In an instant, I grabbed the railing with both hands and closed my eyes. I listened to everything around me and just let the fear in my mind go. Whatever thoughts wanted to come into my head, I let them. I stood there for several minutes, just processing all the what ifs. I found with other fears in my life, if you don't truly let go and grasp onto love, you'll never really experience the fear fading away. Leaning toward love on this trip meant valuing the time I was spending with family, and leaning towards love in my life has always come back to my faith in Jesus Christ. Scripture tells us that perfect love casts out fear, and I firmly believe that. You see, I don't want to be someone who looks back on their life and sees decisions made out of fear. I want to be someone who makes decisions out of love and for love. Once we got back home and people asked how the cruise went, I usually paused for a second and said, it was a lot of things. You see, I faced one of my fears that I would have rather avoided, and I got to spend some great quality time with family and friends at the same time. I'm now 32 years old and don't have any plans to go on any more cruises. But if I had to go again, I think I would do a riverboat cruise. That way I would be assured that I could see the land the whole time.
I've been talking with all of the staff and and the captain, and they've instructed me on all the safety features, and I've got to tour all the safety boats and do just kind of a quick inspection on all of them. And I've been going through all the life jackets on the ship, trying all of them on, making sure that they all work properly, and that way I'll know that everybody is super safe.